Hey guys, welcome to Homesteading Off the Grid. As of this recording, it's June 1st, 2020. I'm in the fruit orchard we planted in front of our house where we have 36 variously assorted fruit trees. In this orchard we have apples, plums, peaches, pears, and apricots. Around our homestead we have more than 60 fruit trees. We've got fruit producing bushes such as blueberry bushes. We've got raspberry vines, blackberries, and we've got a ton of ornamental shrubs and bushes and plants and flowers, everything. It's like living in Eden or paradise, and we've set it up this way. We've done a lot of hard work to get things this way. Now, in years past, on June 1st, when I've come out into our orchards or our gardens, we've seen that our trees, the leaves, the fruits, the vegetables have been devastated by Japanese beetles, also known as June bugs. This is the time of year that they come out, and they come out in full force, and it's been an ever-going battle with them. Things are different this year. Things are way different. We believe we have rediscovered a centuries-old insect repellent that works on Japanese beetles and June bugs during the coronavirus pandemic, which we're going through right now, 2020. We want to show you the evidence. We want to share this treatment with you, and we hope that more of you use it as well. If you'll notice, not a single leaf has been eaten by a June bug. Let me give you a quick tour and explain this phenomenon. Forgive any traffic noise you might hear during this segment of the video, but because of that traffic noise, we chose when we moved into our property to plant a couple of rows of Leland cypresses. I want to point out these were 18 inches high when we planted them 3.5 years ago. And in a couple of years, we love our neighbors. We just don't want to hear them when they drive by. And these Leland cypress trees are going to do just that for us. But you can see these things are already about 8 feet tall in only 3 years, starting from 18 inches. The Japanese beetle infestation has been so bad in years past, they would even eat the new softwood growth off of the ends of our Leland cypress trees. This year, not a single bug. Behind me here on this part of our property that butts up against the road, we planted between 200 and 300 trees. We transferred from the wood line of our forest on the backside of our property down to here. The Japanese beetles, like the deer, and that's why we have these wire cages around everything, in years past have decimated these trees if we weren't able to get to them in time. This year, they haven't touched them. This is my favorite over here. I planted a cherry tree here. I really get a kick out of this. We thought it died, so I cut it off, hoping it might regrow something up from the root, and it did. In 3 years, this wild black cherry tree is about 9 feet tall, and the Japanese beetles haven't touched it. Let me show you our blueberry bushes. They're covered in fruit. Check out those beautiful clusters of blueberries. They haven't been touched. Not a Japanese beetle anywhere. Those are going to taste good. Here we've got raspberries, the sweet red raspberries. Berries galore. The leaves have not been touched. This is the first year in the nearly 4 years that we've lived on this homestead that these vines have actually produced fruit because of the fact that the Japanese beetles have not touched the vines. In years past, the Japanese beetles / June bugs, same thing, different names, have ravished our rose bushes. Haven't touched them this year. We've got beautiful blooms coming out now and beautiful buds. There's a pear, a small pear on one of our pear trees. Leaves untouched by the June bugs. Peaches on our peach tree. Our snow peas in our garden have not been touched. Not a single pea, not a single leaf, not even the blossoms. Our carrots are growing more prolifically than they ever have, and they've not been harmed. And we're certainly not going to count our blackberries before they ripen, but if they stay on course, we're going to end up getting more blackberries this year than we ever have in the past. So weren't all the trees and bushes and shrubs and vines I just showed you absolutely beautiful? Well, they didn't plant themselves, and they don't care for themselves. We planted them, and we continue to care for them, and it's a lot of hard work. So it has been literally heartbreaking to come out on June 1 every year before this year and see the devastation caused by the Japanese beetles. Now, we have taken some more natural remedies to get rid of these beetles in the past, and I'm going to share one with you at the end of this video. But first, I'm going to talk to you about what happened this year. We didn't do those things that we've done in the past, and we have not applied any sort of bug killer or chemicals, though I was this close to doing so. I came out this morning to apply a chemical that, well, I need a banana. This is why I got up at 5:30 this morning and I came out to apply this chemical. I bought a gallon of concentrate of this, and I'm not going to name the chemical because in this regard to what I'm going to read to you, so many of them are similar, okay? And I'm not here to bash any particular product or any product at all. When I read this, I changed my mind. This is some of the cautionary things to be aware of with this chemical. Listen to this. This pesticide is extremely toxic to fish, aquatic invertebrates, oysters, and shrimp. To protect the environment, do not allow pesticide to enter or run off into storm drains, drainage ditches, gutters, or surface waters. We have a pond, and it's filled with fish. And it's in the lower portion. It's right behind our fruit orchard. You may have seen it in some of those clips. Further, care should be used when spraying to avoid fish and reptile pets in or around ornamental ponds. This product is highly toxic to bees exposed to direct treatment or residues on blooming crops or weeds. Do not apply this product or allow it to drift to blooming crops or weeds if bees are foraging the treatment area. Guys, we have 6 acres, and there is no way I could spray this stuff anywhere where there are no bees. Okay, for the fruit you saw earlier in the video to come to fruition, no pun intended. Of course, it's only almost a pun because there's no T in the middle. And to see those peas, that stuff can't happen unless those plants are pollinated. And it's the bees that did that. The blackberries, the raspberries, the blueberries, these things are constantly being pollinated when there's blooms. There are constantly bees in our fields. I'm looking around, I'm seeing tons of flowers. So here's what we did. I wrestled with this idea. And something happened a couple of months ago during the beginning of this coronavirus pandemic that made me start paying closer attention to what was going on in nature. That's when I read a report that Manila Bay in Manila, Philippines, due to the quarantine of the people in the Philippines, and I lived in Manila for 6 months. I lived in the Philippines for 6 years. My wife is Filipina. My son was born in the Philippines. He's half Filipino, half American. I love the Philippines. I love the people. We still have family there, okay? But it would be untruthful to say that the country does not struggle with issues in regard to pollution, okay? But this report showed that just from where the people have been forced to quarantine because of the coronavirus, the Manila Bay had naturally cleaned itself due to the currents and the way everything works. And the differences can be seen from outer space, okay? I live in Virginia, Central Virginia. We're in Zone 7, United States. None of us are perfect. We all have our problems. What's always been a concern to me here is how many millions, if not billions, of tons of chemicals we spray into our environment every year to get those perfect pieces of fruit without spots, to get those, I call them frankenfruits sometimes, these GMO things they make that are bigger than life. I don't eat them. They scare me. You know, when I left for 6 years to live in the Philippines and then I returned, I saw fruits in the grocery store when I got back that didn't exist when I left. I was at first curious to try them, but my better judgment won out and I haven't touched them. So anyway, around the time I read that report about Manila Bay, and this is a couple months ago as of this recording, I started paying attention to nature, and what I noticed was that I started seeing birds here on our homestead I'd never seen before. And many of the birds that I have seen in the past, but only rarely, I'm now seeing in more abundance. And so it made me wonder, is the fact that most Americans are staying home and not going out, and a lot of the agricultural industry is not performing as it has in the past. We're not spraying like we were. We're not dumping the chemicals out there. Is this why I'm seeing more of these birds? Guys, it's gotten so prolific, this bird spotting stuff, that I don't come up here to this part of my property without bringing my Birds of Virginia handbook, so that when I see a bird I've never seen before, I can see what it is by looking it up. This year, for the first time, I've seen scarlet tanagers and indigo buntings. Okay, I've seen brown thrashers in the past, but we have families of them now nesting in the evergreen hedges that grow around our property's borders. You know, and a little birdie told me this morning when I came out, still wrestling with this idea. Do I go with the spray of the product I bought? I paid $82 for a gallon of concentrate. You mix it, it's only 4 ounces of concentrate per gallon of water. This stuff could last 10 years. I could come out here and spray everything in a matter of a few hours and be done with it. I wouldn't have to make these natural traps that I'm going to direct you towards here at the end over and over and over and spend all the time and all the effort and buy the yeast and buy the brown sugar and all the stuff that go into those traps. I wouldn't have to do that. I'd save myself time and I'd save myself effort with this. But here is what we'd stand to lose. We stand to lose this beautiful little barn swallow who nests up here every year on our back porch, never does any harm, who does eat a lot of bugs for us. She's sitting on her second brood of eggs for the year. We stand to harm my best good buddy here around the homestead, my potential Bigfoot Sasquatch hunting field guide cat, Cleopatra. I don't want to lose her. We stand to lose the fish in our pond, and the turtles and the salamanders and the frogs. So I made the choice due to the what I view as a message from a little bird. When I stepped outside this morning, I looked up in the tree and I saw a downy woodpecker. Okay, I've seen downy woodpeckers on my property maybe once or twice a year in the last 4 years. I've been seeing them almost daily this year, and I've been seeing them in greater numbers than I ever have. I'd usually see them by themselves. Now they're coming around in groups, small groups. I'm convinced that this centuries-old remedy of allowing nature to do what nature does, instead of interfering with it to such a great degree, has allowed it to do just that, what it does. There are so many birds out here. You know who loves to eat Japanese beetles and June bugs? Mostly birds, snakes, frogs, toads. So if you have ornamental bushes around your apartment in town, or if you have a home, your property isn't quite this big, but you are concerned, put a bowl of water out around your rose bushes, around the plants you want to protect. This will induce the snakes. I know you don't want to hear it, but snakes really do us much more good than they do harm, as long as they're not poisonous. The mice eat the June bugs. These bowls of water will bring these predators, natural predators, in at night to drink the water, and they'll stay to eat the June bugs. Guys, my centuries-old remedy that I've rediscovered here during the coronavirus pandemic is nature. I'm letting her do her thing. So I'm not spraying those harsh poisonous chemicals. It was $82 I wasted, and I don't like to waste money. There's been times in my life when I've had money, and there's been times when I've not had money. And those times in which I have not had money made me appreciate the times in which I do, and it taught me not to waste it. It's not a waste, because spending money to poison the environment is what's wasteful. I'm not doing it. I'm sticking to nature. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I will link to the very end of this video, should be popping up now, a video I made a couple of years ago that shows you how to make natural traps to defend against Japanese beetles, also known as June bugs. I hope you guys are all staying safe out there. I hope you're enjoying your fruit and your vegetables, but let's remember to save the birds and the bees.